The 2022 campaign was awesome for both the 49ers and Garoppolo, so it's understandable that his absence is going to leave a gap. The 49ers are still figuring out their next move after this trade. They're in the middle of making some critical decisions for the future. They have two quarterbacks down, with Brock Purdy awaiting surgery and Trey Lance out for a while. Now that they've completely said no to Jimmy G as well, the number one thing they need to focus on in the offseason is to find a quarterback. Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and now John Johnson. It's looking pretty rough. However, if you're wondering why, after all this chaos, taking Garoppolo back is still a possibility, it's really not.
You know you have a chance to have a quarterback for 5 years that's playing at the level that Jimmy's playing at. Who cares if he played 7 games? I saw enough in the first game that he played in.
Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, spoke about this whole thing to reporters and said he doesn't see a scenario like that playing out right now. That's a solid no. As for what Garoppolo thinks, his future has always been uncertain. Consider what he said back in Week 12 after a game when reporters asked him about his future. If you don't remember, all he said was that he was going to worry about his future at the end of the year. Apparently, the 49ers had a lot going on and he couldn't worry about this. Now, though, he's a free agent and has a lot of options for potential landing spots. As for the 49ers, they had one of the best seasons in 2022, and they have Garoppolo and their other quarterbacks to thank for it. With Trey Lance and Brock Purdy injured and Garoppolo out of the question, people are doubting their chances of success. Despite this, the team and Shanahan are determined to get back on their feet during the offseason.
Everybody in red and gold on your back and go win the division. Let's go.
Even though the two starters are injured, they're still on the team, and Coach Shanahan thinks that's going to be enough for a win next season. He also said that because of these two starters, they're not eager to explore other options. It seems like they're relying on hope too much, though.
Well, and then let's talk about the next week.
Third straight quarterback is making his starting debut today, Brock Purdy.
After all, Brock Purdy suffered an injury in the game against the Eagles in the NFC Championship. The 49ers are very hopeful, though, that he won't have to undergo Tommy John surgery and will return better than ever during the next season.
Now it'll be Brock Purdy. Mr. Irrelevant becomes extremely relevant now.
Purdy looks to throw. Touchdown!
Even John Lynch, the general manager of the franchise, weighed in on this whole situation. He let everyone know just a few days ago that Brock is still getting second opinions, but that doesn't mean there's no positive news. The best thing to do right now is to take the 6-month approach. Lynch even addressed some of the possible comebacks fans and critics might have to this. If people are wondering, you never know until you're actually in there. John Lynch wants everyone to know that that's just what every surgeon is supposed to say. Right now, the doctors and the rest of the medical team are just focused on following the steps of the whole process, and it's a plus that the prognosis isn't that bad. Even though initially the 49ers wanted Trey Lance as the face of the franchise, Purdy is up and coming. He looks a lot better than Lance. Of course, you can argue that Lance has a higher ceiling, but how long is that going to be enough? The 49ers haven't won the Super Bowl in almost 20 years, and if they want to get close to the Lombardi Trophy, they need to do more. They need something more than a proven player behind the center, someone who could be Garoppolo's possible replacement. Brock Purdy might just be the solution to this, and they're going to train him hard during the offseason, that's for sure. Even though it may seem like the Niners are leaning on the 23-year-old too much, he's definitely given them a reason to do so.
It was like a dream.
Good play, my man. You played great. Keep it up. Keep going.
My dad crying in the stands. My brother had his arm around my dad.
The game against the Dallas Cowboys was enough to prove to both the teams and the fans that Brock is their possible quarterback of the future. He went up against Dak Prescott, a Pro Bowl passer, and everyone's jaws were hanging when a rookie outplayed someone like him. That's not something you'd expect from this year's Mr. Irrelevant. Maybe he took the title to heart and was waiting for the perfect opportunity to prove to everyone that he wasn't. Purdy has been compared to Tom Brady when it comes to his field reading abilities, and it makes sense why. Compared to Prescott, he barely made any mental errors at all. He's quick on his feet and smart too, which is always a plus. If he keeps going like this next season, it might just be over for Trey Lance. And if that wasn't enough proof, here's more. Brock Purdy handles pressure really well. Everyone saw this when it came to his dropbacks because he didn't panic at all. He even completed 15 of 17 passes for 159 yards and ended up with no turnovers at all.
Flawless first half. Quarterback rating of 146.5. 14 of 18, 185 yards, 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
Even though the Cowboys QB was being pretty reckless, it seemed like the 49ers were trying to sabotage their own by making some extremely stupid plays. Still, Purdy didn't lose his cool and kept playing the game. This was insane to witness, especially because of Brock's lack of experience. Either way, this is exactly the kind of energy that the 49ers have needed for a while now. Kyle Shanahan has wanted something like this for a long time, and he finally has it. Critics still have a lot to say about the decisions he makes, though. For example, many fans flooded Twitter with tweets saying that the 49ers coach shouldn't have wasted all of that draft capital on someone like Trey Lance. The season-ending injury was something that nobody could have predicted, but it was still a bit like rubbing salt in the wound. This just gives fans more of a reason to praise Brock Purdy, though. What he's done in barely a year, Hall of Famers like Matt Ryan accomplished a lot later. There's a bright future ahead for this young man for sure. Goes without saying, but he also fits really well in the 49ers system.
2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Brock Purdy, a quarterback from Iowa State.
It doesn't need the most talented or experienced quarterback, but a disciplined one. Using the run to open up a pass still works, and it's amazing that Purdy could do this in his rookie year. They're not even paying him as much as Trey Lance, and this is going to give them an opportunity to build the rest of the team around them. This is something that's going to strengthen the team in the long run, which is awesome. As for the future, the 49ers need to free up cap space as well. They were paying Garoppolo a lot, and Trey Lance is getting millions too. The Niners need to get on this right now, and the best way is to rework existing contracts. For example, they could figure something out with Trent Williams, whose cap hit is around $27 million. The Niners have a great offensive line thanks to him. After all, Williams is the best left tackle in the NFL. If they restructure the age of the contract, they could gain up to $14.181 million in cap space. There are loads of other players whose contracts can be restructured, and that'll help the team save money. When it comes to the future, things are looking up for the Niners. All things considered, though, there's no denying Jimmy G had a huge impact on the team.
What Jimmy Garoppolo's future is going to be with the 49ers, but I know he'd sure like to make sure it extends one more week.
He played his role as an excellent quarterback for as long as he could, but when rumors of him and Kyle Shanahan fighting started circulating, it was clear things wouldn't last. It's probably for the best that he parted ways with the Niners, because there are many teams out there who would mesh better with him. Plus, Brock Purdy is a rising star, and he might be the kind of player San Francisco needs more right now. All in all, things are going to be okay after this trade, especially with the Niners. See you in the next video.